Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Into the Storm. And first of all, I always like to welcome and introduce the other people that's helping me do this. And we have a special guest today. Liz is here. She's new to the team. She's doing a little pseudo internship for my sister over there who does all the production. And then we have obviously my nephew, Trey, who does the engineering. And my sister, by meaning Trisha Madrid, because sometimes I don't say her name. So we have two special guests here today who just joined our team over here at Bison Ventures. We have Vanessa Accra and Brandon Bialkowski. Some people know him as Bialkowski. So welcome, everybody, and cheer. You can go higher with that. Hey.
Oh, is there like a in-studio class?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
This is a real deal production here, brought to you by Bison Ventures. So thank you guys for coming. We just wanted to get a little bit insight of what kind of brought you guys here. But before we do that, just talk a little bit about your guys' history and how you got in the business, where you're from, and you know, that sort of stuff. So we'll start with you because you're the elder of the two.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, Brandon's a youngster, very, very young. He's almost 31. Just kidding.
30 years old.
He's 30 years old.
Rub it in.
So, Vanessa, where are you from originally?
Florida, Central Florida, in the middle of nowhere, small town.
A little closer to the mic.
I gotta sit closer. Okay.
Yep.
My chair.
So,
Okay.
when did you come to Arizona?
April of '99. Yes.
April 99?
Yep.
And did you jump right into the mortgage business when you got here?
No, I came out here with an ex-husband that started restaurants out here and got married very young, basically at 17.
Wow.
Not my best decision, but it put me to where I am.
Yeah.
And basically was a stay-at-home mom. So had 4 kids pretty quickly, had all 4 of my kids before I turned 24.
Wow.
And kind of helped my ex with his businesses, accounting, bookkeeping, stuff like that. And that's what I did prior.
So, when you got a divorce, you got into the mortgage business?
Yes, I had to figure out how to take care of myself and my kids, but I kind of stumbled upon it. My youngest son had a friend that he was really good friends with that was a mortgage broker.
Okay.
And knew I was struggling, and so offered to teach me processing and kind of the mortgage business. So I started processing for so much a file, and then served and did things that you have to do to make ends meet. But yeah, that's how I got into it.
So, were you a processor, and then did you ever do underwriting?
Nope.
Nope.
No underwriting, just like processor, and then which kind of rolled into being a assistant.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about you, Brandon? Where are you from?
I'm from Detroit, Arizona. Up. Is this good?
Detroit, Arizona.
Detroit, Michigan.
Trey, do we need to raise this at all?
It sounds like
I'll do this for you. You're born in Detroit, Michigan, right?
Yep,
And then you moved to Gilbert, Arizona, correct?
correct.
Okay, how old were you when you did that?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
When I moved to Gilbert. Lived there, went to Gilbert High School, went to college back on the East Coast, and my parents have been in real estate for a long time. They started a real estate company out here in the Valley, sold it to Keller Williams, so they've always kind of had their hands in the real estate side. My mom was in the mortgage business. She actually was a recruiter for Caliber Home Loans, who we started at. And from there, was going to go to dental school out of college, and my mom was like, just get into the business and make some money, and then go into dental school. So I did that. First 6 months.
Are you mad at her still for telling you to do that?
The first 6 months, I was like, dude, what the hell am I doing? Like, this
is the
shit
first
sucks.
time ever probably a mom has been like, nah, don't go to dental school. Go be in the mortgage business.
Yeah, she's like, there's so much flexibility. And I was like, yeah,
That is
there is.
true.
When you start, you don't know what you're doing. So you have all day.
The whole day to figure out
Yeah.
why am I doing this?
Yeah, so I mean, it was definitely a learning experience, like just like thrown into the real world, just kind of
And you were super young.
23 years old.
See, that's so young to be in any sales sort of position, especially when you're trying to like sell things to people that are way older than you.
There's no way, like, if I saw myself back then, I couldn't take myself seriously.
Never. No way.
Yeah.
That's younger than Trey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just think about like if you're. I mean, I guess everybody has to start somewhere in all the businesses, but like financial advising, real estate, even like you're trying to get people that are 20 years older than you to pick you out of everybody to like risk their money on. It's strange. But you didn't start out as an LO right away, right?
I did. So I
you did?
started right as an LO. They just kind of threw me in, and I was getting mentored for a bit, but I had to self-generate at first, and that's why the first 6 months I'm like, what am I doing here? And so ended up joining a team up in Scottsdale, so eventually moved up that way, where I was an assistant for about 3 years.
Nice. So I know a little bit about your story, but I think it's interesting enough to talk about here and how you got back into the mortgage business, because you started in the mortgage business and then you left the mortgage business and then you got back in the mortgage business. So talk about that a little bit.
So processing, being an assistant for a mortgage broker, the direction he wanted to go was kind of like a one-stop shop, real estate leads, mortgage leads, all of that sort of stuff. So I found myself doing everything because he's the one that kind of talked me into becoming a real estate agent, because it was, we can split the commissions type thing.
Right.
So got licensed, started doing everything, which I didn't realize I was going to do everything. So I was doing the entire loan from start to finish, the real estate transaction from start to finish, and it was a lot. And I started to realize you've got to kind of pick one.
Yeah.
And so there became a point in time where I just decided, with some other factors involved, that it was going to be the best thing for me to do to move on from the mortgage piece of it at the time, and solely become a real estate agent on my own. It was a great way to learn. You're kind of really thrown in there, and it's a lot, but I needed to take a different direction for a bit.
And you had some success too.
Yeah, I mean, I loved being a real estate agent. It was fun. Like, I loved being a buyer's agent because I always was able to talk to the buyers about the mortgage.
Loan side, yeah.
Yes,
And the
as well.
lender. So she would essentially do our job for us up front.
Hey, you're
I have a question
welcome.
about that. So, because I was an agent at one time too, did you have a hard time selling that to your buyers? Like, hey, I'm going to work on your loan and I'm going to represent you on the purchase.
Not really. I mean, because it was talked about so, like, right out the gate. And so they kind of knew what they were getting into. It wasn't like I just, like, found a real estate client that was like, oh, by the way, we're going to do your mortgage too. It was kind of, I mean, there was a couple of times where it was a little interesting, but for the most part, people were okay with it.
Right. So I could imagine some people would see it as a benefit, right? Because it's like one person they have to
Yeah,
communicate
some
with.
people
And other
look-
people would be like, wait a second.
Yeah, but for the most part, the way business kind of came in and the conversations up front, most people were okay with it.
So did you maintain both licenses, like active at the same time?
So, yes, I did. And it was okay at that point in time because of the brokerage. Yeah.
But as you can tell, it doesn't really work because there's barely anybody in this business that does that anymore, and you really can't do it anymore anyways. I don't know if you can on the broker side, but
You can.
certainly can on the banker side. You can?
Yeah.
Well, I know some companies like try to bring everything in-house because they want all the money, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way to do it. And also, it's also a conflict of interest in a lot of ways.
It really is, and it's like our business is already hard enough. You
Right.
have to be able to just specialize in one thing. Like, you can't be a real estate agent and a lender at the same time, and no one's expecting that. But there's people out there that think, okay, I can do both, make money on both ends of it, but it's not fruitful.
There's no way to do both and be good at
Yeah.
both. There's absolutely I think there's a misconception that doing like being a loan officer is easy, because it's just not. So there's no way if you have a hard deal that you're going to be able to do a transaction. And then you have to be the bearer of bad news on both sides, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So then you joined forces with S4, right?
No.
Or did I skip a step?
I was an agent on my own for a bit. I actually started with HomeSmart and did that for. I was with HomeSmart, I think, by myself for 2 years, and then I did a cross transaction with an agent who became one of my best friends, actually. We did a short sales transaction. So the one thing that I was taught and worked on a lot back in the day was short sales. I negotiated short sales. And so did a cross transaction with her. She contacted me after the fact and was like, I want to talk, ask you questions, and it became an interrogation. So it was really just kind of to get me to think about joining their team. So in November of 2014, I rolled over into the group because I was okay on my own, but I wanted to learn more and be in a different environment, so I decided to join the team.
So when did you guys officially start working together? I know right now you're a team, but you weren't originally a team. You're both like members at the same
We were
company,
members of the same team.
Okay.
As like internal loan officers, essentially. We had a little bit of outside business, but we were managing the lead inflow from the team leader at the time. So she ended up leaving, and we sat down and we were like, all right, what are we doing here? So we're like,
she was essentially bringing in a lot of the business.
She was bringing in
He or she. Yeah.
Was bringing in the vast majority of the
Yeah.
business. I would say like 95%.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, we're essentially going to have to start from scratch. And I was still living at home at the time, so that sounded fun for me. Like I could totally just live at home. My mom would make me dinner every night.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So I was totally on board. I'm like, let's just get
Yeah.
after it. Let's join up and try and like grow something by herself. I don't know how Vanessa was feeling. She's a little bit more on edge with that kind of stuff. So I'm sure it took her a long time to kind of think through that.
Well, mother of four versus the guy who's living at home. different life scenarios.
The fact that we're even partners just blows my mind. But I do remember sitting down. Well, it took me when I had the opportunity to get back into the mortgage business in 2017, because I knew Brandon. I worked with Brandon. I didn't love him as a loan officer, but it took me.
She always just like does like the jab.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But it took me 3 months to make a decision to leave real estate completely and get back into the mortgage business. And so I am an overthinker because I don't like the unknown, and I have because of the life experiences I've been through, it's scary. And I remember once we found out that this person that we worked for was leaving, we didn't want to follow. And so I remember sitting down at lunch and I was like, all right, like just grilling him about what are we going to do, asking all these questions. And he's just like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what? Like, so, like.
That's her pounding the table for all of the listeners out there.
Sorry.
She's getting excited just thinking about it.
And I was like, I couldn't get like much out of him. And I'm like, am I sure I want to do this? Like, there's. Yeah. Anyway, but
So
yeah,
I
it
was
took
like,
me a while.
I was like very confident in that we would be able to do something. I just didn't know how long it was going to take.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's like you're essentially starting over. You know what you're doing now, which is different than 3 years ago. Vanessa had the S4 team, so we can kind of lean on
And now
that.
Brandon's pounding the table.
I moved my hand. I'm Italian.
Yeah.
So we could lean on the S4 team, which they've been great.
Yeah.
Great partners since we started. And then kind of grow it out from there.
What was your first big, like, okay, I finally got a partner. I finally got somebody who's going to trust me.
2018. Can I say names on that? Yeah.
Go for it.
So Katie Fear, who I've been working with, she's in the West Valley, just moved into downtown Phoenix, Roosevelt Row area. She sent me a deal back in 2018, and it was my only deal at the time. So I'm like really just like calling every day, texting every day.
Yeah.
So like
your communication.
My communication was on point.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, this guy really knows his stuff. I kind of did, but looking back, I really didn't know that much. And continuously started to send me deals. And a lot of it, I mean, just kind of snowballs from there. But that was the first time that I ever really got traction.
Right. That's a great moment when that finally happens. But I understand what you're saying. It's like everything every day, then they're going to just be loyal forever because they think that's where you're always going to be. Mm-hmm. but you are that way every day.
Yes.
Yeah. You have good communication.
Yeah, I think our communication is great. And like, I'm constantly on my phone, so I think our communication is great. It's just different.
Yeah.
Like, and our partners understand that. It's not like I'm gonna be able to text you back and call you on a daily basis. They understand that. They know the deal is gonna get done because we've been working with them for so long.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about then when you guys were at Caliber and things were going and you were finding success. And then Vanessa and I were friends first, and then she introduced us, and then we became friends. And then I went after you guys to come over to VIP for 4 years.
Yep.
Separately, individually, together.
So how did you two meet?
So she gave us some deals when she was an agent as well. Mm-hmm. So that's how we met. And then when she went to S4, when you were, I think you might have.
I was with S4.
It was, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right, because then we were trying to get some deals from the whole team, but they had a preferred lender that wasn't us. So more deals went there. But every so often we get deals from them, and we had a good relationship with them the whole time. When you guys decided that you were going to leave Caliber and come here, was S4 like a big deal, big part of that, or did you have to go to them and say, this is what we're thinking about doing? Or you guys just, you didn't think they'd care?
I talked to them about it as we got more serious about it, but for the most part, it's not, they didn't really care. If everything stays the same, your service level stays the same, your relationship stays the same, your loans get done, essentially it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's and that was like the shit that would keep me up at night. I'm like, oh, I got to call so-and-so tomorrow. Like,
right.
How are they going to take this that we're leaving? Because we had never left companies before. And it's like 2 a.m. I'm thinking through, like, how am I going to tell them this? And it was like the conversation, oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
It's like,
dude, that's what it is for everybody. And that's what it's so frustrating sometimes when you are trying to have a conversation with somebody about them, because people don't just make a move very easily in this business. Mm-hmm. I mean, they overthink it like crazy, which is good, right? It's not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's always the fear of the unknown of like, what are people going to think when you realize at the end of the day, they don't really care. Mm-hmm. Your clients don't really care where you're at. They just want to know that you're going to be doing the job and you're going to continue to do the job the way you've been doing it.
Well, you guys did such a good job. Obviously, you're good at your job, but you also have done such a nice job with your personal branding and your team branding that it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, we're thrilled you're here, and hopefully your business is enhanced by being part of Bison Ventures, but you did such a great job all on your own that you probably could have gone a few different places.
Well, yeah, that's the shout out to my sister. She kind of started our whole branding.
She's amazing.
Yeah, we sucked at it, so.
Yeah, we were horrible. If you look like 2019, it's like, here's a picture of us. Send us loans. It's like.
Brandon did some dumb thing one day that he thought was so funny, and it was, and I just like put on an Instagram post like what he just said, wrote something, and he just thought that was so funny and so bad. My marketing was versus your marketing, because you like had a gun shooting with like $1 bills and shit. And I said, hey, rates are dropped down to this.
Thank God for sisters who have marketing backgrounds.
Well,
yeah, and
you were in with me back then.
I get some wild ideas and just gotta execute them.
He's a visionary.
Yes.
But he doesn't implement things very well, just like Real Madrid. So it's not that big of a deal. All right, so when you guys finally were at the point where you're like, this I can't, we need to make a move. Obviously, you had opportunities to go to a lot of different places. I'm not sure how deep you guys really even got into it with all the other places, but like your thought process of what you guys were looking for in a time when people were getting big checks and all, people were moving to like basically one company, right, at this point. Like walk us through a little bit like your guys' conversations, going like, all right, what's important to us and what are we looking for if we make a move?
So I think the checks thing really wasn't appetizing to us at all. We got some really good advice from our old divisional vice president, who's still a friend of ours, that you can take that check, but obviously you're going to pay for it on the back end. That wasn't really what we wanted. I think obviously getting to know you guys, you and Stu, culture was huge for us. So as our old company started to grow, they got acquired, there was a lot of layers of management. And one of the biggest things that we didn't want in moving companies was if I asked somebody a question, they had to go ask somebody else who had to ask somebody else.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing for us. It's like, this is a quick moving business. It's probably one of the faster moving businesses there is, and you need answers very quickly. So I think that on top of obviously being able to kind of vibe with somebody in their culture and what they were building. And as we kind of built this out, our team out, our culture is aligned with what you guys were trying to build.
You have anything to say, or do you want me to say something?
No, I mean, the people thing was huge, because what I realized being at our old company over the last 5 years is where we started with our people is not where we ended up, obviously. And you sometimes don't realize how important it is to work with good people and good culture. Like most people's like, yeah, I show up at my job every day, do work and go home and
Yeah.
not get too involved. But we had such close relationships with those people. And as people started to leave and move on and do other things, I really realized how important that was. Because, I mean, most companies are going to get your loans done. It's going to be, whatever. But, we just didn't feel like we had a home anymore.
Yeah.
And so we wanted something that felt like home and people that were close to us at work and outside of work.
I also think another thing too is like we wanted, or at least I wanted to be around people that were better than me at my job. So at Caliber or at our previous company, there was great producers there, mainly in like the northwest area.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, you can get the insight into a top producing team on a daily basis. And so you can see what they're doing, how they're operating, a lot of the systems and back end stuff. And that was really appealing to me as well.
Because we had spent a lot of time with Jay too, it became a point where like Brandon just kind of hung out with us. They weren't recruiting deals anymore. We needed a fourth and a golf. He usually came, and so.
Oh, you don't have to ask Brandon twice to golf.
No, so we had Jay Barber, obviously, and then we from Kent. I mean, we played with multiple different people, and so we spent a lot of time with people at VIP, for the people that don't know, Jay Barber is the principal owner of VIP Mortgage. And then so when we decided to break off, essentially, from VIP, I remember one of the big struggles that we were having, not you and I, but Stu and I, were, okay, so like we spent so much time with Jay, and you became very fond of Jay as well. And Jay would call Brandon individually without us, and they'd have their own separate conversations. So it was like, how are we gonna like throw this at Jay and say, sorry, dude? Like, I know we all kind of did this together, but now we're gonna bring him over to Bison Ventures instead of VIP Mortgage. And did you? Actually, I know you did this, but you had a little bit of struggle with that too.
That was the first thing. I'm like, dude, how are we gonna tell Jay?
Yeah. Right.
I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go down, but
yeah.
And then I was like, do you have any thoughts on this? And you're like, yeah, I'll handle it.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it was like, we overthink everything. Mm-hmm. Like literally everything, and he didn't give two shits, right?
No,
he was like, cool, man, just as long as he's part of the family, right? And and having like the two of you as like individual roles doing something different. Then you guys had Hannah, that's basically your LOA production manager. Shout out to Hannah, we've been leaving her out.
We love Hannah.
And then Thor. I remember
we're not laughing at you, Thor.
No, but we're like, when someone just says, hey, I'm going to bring this guy Thor over, it's just, I thought you were kidding. Like the name was, what's his real name? And his real name, well, his middle name is Thor.
Yep.
And then he came over from another company to be essentially your ILO. Mm-hmm. And, but you knew him from high school, correct?
Yeah, actually, like flag football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so he's always been huge. He
was the biggest guy in flag football in our league. He was probably 6 feet tall when we were 5. Or at least that's what it felt like. I mean, the dude was huge, and he would tie his flags and cheat and stuff. So.
Can you imagine if he was a little guy named Thor?
His son's name's Thor as well. So that's
Baby Thor.
Baby Thor.
Baby Thor. So, all right. So when we decided, okay, so when we launched the company, we kept kind of pushing you guys off a little bit. Be like, all right, we want to make sure that things, because goes back to the old, overthinking everything. So Stuart was so worried about like making sure things were right, making sure things were going to be perfect. And finally got to the point where he tried to, we pushed it back to January and then to February and then March. And I remember him going, so like, are you guys going to be good with May? And you were like, no.
No,
we're
he
not.
was trying to push us till June.
To June.
And I was like,
right.
No. We got to go.
So essentially you guys came over the week after we launched. And we did warn you that there was going to be some growing pains because we didn't know what we were doing yet. How has it been, honestly, so far? It's not a loaded question. You can give us the goods, the bads, and the ugly.
There was a few days I thought I was going to cry. No, I'm kidding, but...
she wasn't kidding.
Yeah, I was real close. I was like, what am I doing? I'm not good with change. That's my issue, and that's very hard for me. So transitioning company-wise with people was amazing. Like, everybody was so helpful. What's really hard is learning something completely new. Like, I've never touched Encompass. We didn't have, the Salesforce built out for us like you guys do. Like, there's just so many things to learn. That's what was really hard.
Yeah.
But
I think, in going back, I think like being able to lean on your guys' team, like to help us not only with incoming production, but like how the hell to do everything. Like the onboarding was a lot better than I expected.
We had all hands on deck, for sure.
Yeah, it was all hands on deck.
Sometimes we were like, are we around too much, bothering them? Because this is the truth. I mean, you guys came from a really good system, and you didn't know what you didn't know, right? Because you were only been at Caliber, And Caliber has their own proprietary system that's very easy to use, and we're using Encompass, which 80% of the industry uses, which is not that easy to use until you get the hang of it, right? So, we were aware of that, and it could be a little bit more clunky in that aspect. And it's always going to be a little bit more than because there's more steps, right? But you guys gotten used to it at this point, and you'll get better as it goes.
I mean, that's one of the main reasons for the move is obviously the systems aspect. Encompass aside, like we know Encompass is not great, but like how everything kind of talks and loan flow, I think that was one of the biggest selling points for us. So I think that once you get used to it, obviously everything takes a little bit of time. But Vanessa's in Encompass more than I am.
You don't even know your password.
I don't have a password.
Yesterday,
and I have it for 5 years.
So yesterday, Vanessa's like, "Hey, this is all set up in Encompass. Go in and look at the rate," because I was asking, and I'm like, "Shit, I forgot my password."
Lucky you.
So do you go in separately to do pricing?
So I set up a loan, and he was wanting information out of it, and I wasn't in front of my computer. So I'm like, just go in and grab it, like, because I just didn't remember off the top of my head. So he can't get into it.
Well,
he can do Instagram videos.
Yeah.
That's good.
I took a little Instagram story prior to us starting this, so that
look at you.
I can do that.
Did you tag us?
I will tag everybody. Yep.
Okay. That's good. Did you start one, Tricia?
Before the episode? No.
Yeah.
But I do have a rapid fire question.
Okay.
I think it's time.
Vanessa.
Nope.
Well, I'm going to throw this out to both of you.
Okay.
Either one or both of you can answer it. If you could be any animal, what would it be?
Dolphin.
A dolphin?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, that was a very quick answer.
Yeah.
That's a quick
They're
answer.
they're the smartest animal.
They are, right? Besides the elephant.
Yeah.
So the second
But in
one.
the sea, like, you can swim and...
Yeah.
Okay. That was interesting. I mean, I have to say horse. I'm a horse lover. Have one. Like, that's just an easy question. Yes.
She
What's your
came in
horse's
today
name?
with spurs on her boots and dirt in her fingernails.
No.
There's some days where she's, like, walking around the office and you can hear, like,
do not walk around.
Like
I go to the
spurs
bathroom to shower and change because I ride early in the morning and I
Yeah.
have to come straight here.
So she had jeans and t-shirt and hat on it, did some work, and then changed into her pretty dress.
So your horse is like your fifth child,
Yes.
pretty much, right?
It's her favorite child.
What's the horse's name?
His barn name is Walter.
And what's his birth name?
His registered name is Time for the Gun Show.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes, when you're registered, yes, it's kind of like dogs. Like, they take names from dam and sire and put them together. Yeah.
From what?
Like the sire and the dam.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
So do you compete, or is this just a recreational, like, personal thing that you do for fun?
I show, yes. So it is like competition.
I don't think there's
Yes.
any money involved, though.
I mean, there can be. No, he
She pays money to
He
do
costs me
giving
money,
shows.
but it's
Yeah.
also like my happiness. So you're lucky I don't.
That's worth $1 million.
Yes.
At least.
Brandon.
You should actually pay for some of it because it's your peace of mind.
It's funny, my next question is, what is your happy place? But we'll skip that because I
Yes,
think we know your answer.
it's the arena. Yes, on my horse.
Okay, one more question. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Brandon, I know you got an answer.
Gosh, that's a hard
football
one.
player.
Brandon did try to attempt that.
That was an attempt and fail. But yeah, I mean, that's probably what I would love.
He was
to
a
do.
backup quarterback in college.
I was a starting quarterback my senior year of college, and then signed a Canadian Football League deal, 3-year deal, and got cut in a week.
So pretty
He
good.
still lives his
Yeah.
glory days because he just made us watch highlight reel videos like 6 months ago.
You did? I want to see these
Me
things.
too.
So there's a highlight video on YouTube.
www.youtube.com/.
That our previous assistant wanted to watch. So I hadn't watched it in years. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Was it college or high school?
College.
Okay. Who'd you guys play?
Where'd you go to school, Brendan?
Lehigh University in Pennsylvania. We would play like Princeton, New Hampshire, those type of schools.
Yeah.
Smart people school.
Yes.
So ours was basically like an Ivy League school.
There's no such thing as basically an Ivy League school, but it was
Essentially.
Excuse me.
Oh, I just found it on YouTube. I'm gonna link it in the show notes.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be
2013.
2013 highlights. If we can get the views up on those.
You're at 577 right now.
Wow.
Like and subscribe.
500 of those.
What
are
is the
Brandon.
what YouTube channel is it on?
It is.
Brandon's.
Let's see. It is on the Chad Johnson Sports Videography channel.
So student journalism major at
Probably,
Lehigh.
yeah.
Gotcha. There's no Gilbert High.
There's some highlights deep in there if you.
Yeah. Did you guys do well as when you were quarterback at Gilbert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to playoffs every year.
Nice. Good for you. He's a lefty too, which is unorthodox. So
That's it for the rapid fire.
okay, cool. So moving companies, right? For everybody out there, this time right now, it seems like everybody's thinking about it or getting approached for it. And
I'm still getting approached for it. It's
yeah.
like, hey, I know you're at Bison. I know you just moved to Bison Ventures. Like, are you thinking about a move? It's like,
Is it recruiting? Is it a recruiter calling you, or is it on LinkedIn, or is it like
both
how,
calling, texting, email.
Yeah,
it's
there's some
wild out
aggressive ones out there.
I get stuff every day.
It's a tough deal too, because I think with our approach, yeah, we want to grow. We want to obviously have more volume come into the company because we need revenue, obviously, in order for a company to exist. But you want to bring the right people in, and that's what makes it so hard with like not doing the shotgun full net approach, right? You kind of want to just like sniper people, but it's not an easy thing. So luckily, we have some people that think similar to the way that you guys think and we think, and it's a huge deal thinking to us. And I know Stuart probably like get emotional right now talking about this, but like when you guys did decide to come over, that was a huge deal because you guys took a chance on obviously we had the big mothership behind us, but the fact that you guys were the first people to say, yeah, we want to come over with us, it was a huge deal, and it meant a ton to us. Not to be like super sappy, but it really did, because we've been working for you guys for a long time, and you guys were our friends. And so thank you for that, obviously, and hopefully things are getting better.
Well,
They
no,
were-
I
they
think
were never bad.
they were not
Never
bad.
bad at all.
But I think like authenticity is huge. Like I can see right through most recruiters. And I think a lot of people can now too, just because it's so prevalent out there. People are doing the same thing. But it's not going to work if you don't know who that person is. So if it takes a long time to recruit somebody because you have to build a relationship with them. If it's the right fit, obviously you can just go out and recruit whoever right now and
Yeah.
you can land somebody.
Right.
But I think that's kind of what drew us to Bison as well, is like it's going to be more of like a selective group that we're going to be able to kind of vibe with.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a group effort, right? So we want everybody's input on who we're bringing over and who you guys are going to want to bring over to your branch, right? As well. So are you guys actively trying to get anybody to come over with you guys? Or are you guys taking it slow, or what are you doing?
I wouldn't say like necessarily actively like seeking it out, but we need to get our bearings straight, and then I think it is a goal of ours. I don't know what that looks like in 3 to 5 years, whether it's solely under our team with loan officers or it's like a full branch. That would be my goal, to just build out a branch, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's not easy. It's not easy right now because, I mean, we can get into the market a little bit, right? There's not a lot of inventory. rates are not great. So business is down for everybody. Refinances are obviously almost gone, so unless you're doing a cash out refi, or you need a refi because you might be going through something, you need to break up the household, so to speak. So we're all, going through it. So right now, bringing in somebody to the bottom line is obviously great, but it's hard to get people to even think about moving right now because people are freaking out. And if they are looking to move, they probably aren't necessarily doing a ton of business, or their company that they're at is going to do everything they can to keep them.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully business did slow down by the time that we had left, but I mean, it was still really busy in March. March is a very busy month for us. So April and May, it was actually ended up being a really good time. So I know Vanessa was nervous about timing. We just happened to hit it at a good time. But I still think now with everything being slower, it's a good time to recruit because it gives people the opportunity to get in, learn the systems and all that stuff. Totally.
I think right now, beyond that, it's a time for everybody that's in this business that wants to grow their business to figure out all the things that you could be doing that you've been putting off because you've been so slammed, but work on your systems and processes, work on your daily success plan, so to speak. Try to figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what you need to do more of, and that's obviously touching people more often than you would have. So I know we're working on that here. We're trying to offer that to the people that we're bringing on to help them at least get their structure down and understand these are the people that you currently get business from. These are the people that you want to get business from. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis to grow your business, and what are you doing on a day-to-day basis to keep your business? So this is not a sales pitch out there, but I'm just saying, if you're out there and you're looking for help, we have a plan in place for this, and we're trying to help.
I think that's super important too, because I mean, there would be times a few years ago where I didn't know what to do that day. Now it's a much more structured game plan and approach, and I know we've had a couple meetings on it. You need a plan of action right now, and you need to be doing social media, you need to be doing videos, you need to be teaching classes. I mean, whatever your niche is, you need to be doing more of it.
And I think sorry, I'm going to interrupt. I think the DSP, all of that you're introducing to the team is huge, because the anxiety I think that people might have about coming over, so much of that is mollified by knowing that there's a program. It's not just a hey, welcome, good luck.
Yeah.
You're actually holding us accountable. There's very specific instructions on how to do it. I mean, it's not rocket science.
It's a value add for sure. It's just a matter of getting people there to do it, right? And that's the biggest struggle, is people following a plan and time blocking their days, which is not that easy to do. You get things come into place, and then all of a sudden you get derailed. But
I'm the worst time blocker there is.
Yeah.
I went through coaching, and my coach was he's like, let me see your calendar. So I sent it to him. He's like, there's nothing on here. So he's like, what do you do? I'm like, I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, which is what most people do.
Yeah.
And then he's like, here's a plan. We're going to schedule a 1 hour block a day where you're doing X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
A different theme of the day. That kind of got me a little bit more on track. And now if you look at my calendar, it's fully booked.
Yeah.
It's you just got to start.
You do. And it doesn't matter if you I heard someone, or it's Brian North actually, he had a post the other day about coaching, because I keep asking him about coaching. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but it was good, because he was just the people ask me why, about coaching and who I coach with and all the coaches that I have, and he's got multiple coaches. And at the end of the day, you need somebody to hold you accountable, and it doesn't matter if you're in the Freedom Club or Core, or what was the one you guys were doing?
Building Champions.
And then the Todd Brooks Band deal too. But if you don't follow something to some degree, and it doesn't matter even from the recruiting side. I had a coaching call yesterday with my coach, and he's like, the DSP should be working for you the exact same way for agents as it does for recruiting, right? Who are you going after? Who's your target? Who are the people you've been actively talking to? And, I had a reset again, right? And then I came in today, and all of a sudden I've got all this stuff going on and going, shit, I didn't do what I needed to do yet, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's going to be pushing it back, which I know for a fact that it's not going to be perfect. Yeah. But doing 50% more of what I've been doing is working for me, right? And it's keeping me way more focused, especially from a time blocking standpoint. And getting my day started earlier for sure. And it doesn't matter if you're texting people, if you're calling people, or you're emailing people, you're going to get something done. But fact is 94% of emails don't get opened. So text or call. Yeah. So that's it. Handwritten cards, that's another really good one. Although we always go back to Brandon. It didn't work for Brandon that one time.
I've done one handwritten card in the last 5 years.
You should be doing them a lot though.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I sent one, got no response, and I had to text. You're supposed to be able to send a card and they read it and then they call you. That's what I said. Call me. So no call.
But we went to dinner with him.
Yeah, because I texted him.
Yeah, he did apologize for not responding to your card, but
yeah, I was a little butthurt.
Yeah.
Well, what you're offering is stuff that people pay for. So, I mean,
right.
In this market, take it back to basics. And if you're not doing enough business to where you are scared to afford a coach, that's a great program to follow. So anything is helpful right now.
Right. And a lot of people don't want to spend the money on themselves but they'll spend the money on going out and buying watches and clothes, but not yourself, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, spending money on yourself is what's gonna make you grow. It will, and then you can buy all that fun stuff later on. But you have anything else, Trish?
Actually, yes. So we are in a very much so male-dominated industry, especially on the LO front, right? There's a lot of support people who are women, but a lot of the big hotshots are men. What's it like for you? I mean, you're a badass. Like, you are definitely an accomplished, impressive female. How did you do it? How does it feel? Sorry, that's like a kind of a multi-layered question, but
so I am a very competitive person by nature. I'm an atypical personality, so when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I had a lot of driving forces behind me, just like take care of. You've got 4 kids to take care of all of a sudden. You've got things to prove that you can do because you were told that you couldn't. So yeah, getting into it was scary because people don't take you as seriously. And then when I started, just being on the younger side, you kind of get a little bit of kickback on that too. Like and if you look young or anything like that, like, well, what is she gonna, like, she's not gonna take her seriously.
She's a little girl.
Yeah, type thing. So I got, a lot from that too, especially even in like when I was doing real estate. So it's always been a little bit more difficult, but it's never anything that's scared me. I did a very small stint of, when I was an agent, I did a very small stint of commercial real estate also. That was way more
intimidating.
Yes, because it's like the good old boys club. And I think because of that experience, like, commercial real estate is just such a different animal too. And so I really did have to figure it out and kind of fake it until I really understood it. And I think because I went through that, I wasn't quite as nervous about the lending industry. But yeah, I mean, it is, I don't look at it as though I'm any less of anything though compared to a guy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well,
yeah.
I know, but like some people get really intimidated by that and like, oh, I can't make it, I can't do it. But I mean, there are some very big, strong female loan officers even in this state. And so like those, you kind of look at those people and look up to those people as well. So
Are you, when you guys do get to the point where you're actively wanting to recruit, is female versus male even going to be a factor, something you consider? Are you wanting to like
No.
empower women?
No, I mean, I'm all for, empowering women and doing and promoting that and stuff, but it's still all going to be based on, are you a good fit for us, our branch, your personal outlooks and goals in life, your business goals. It's just solely going to be based on that, nothing else. Yeah.
I think that even working with, females that are working under you, right? So I think about that. So what's the relationship type, if you're a boss, right? And then you have females working underneath you. Does that ever become like an empowerment to the women, or does it become like a distraction where like there's a jealousy, or there's, I hate to say this, but women can tend to not get along with other women, right? You guys get along with other guys way easier. So I wonder, I know you guys have Hannah, but she's easy. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that you guys get along pretty well. But I also do wonder, like the other big teams that have like the female leader and then it's like all women, what's that like behind closed doors? That's just throwing it out there.
Well, I can tell
Trey's
you.
like, I don't want nothing to do with that question.
So
Actually, you
here's
might want to cut that out.
But
it's the truth,
I
so.
can say something about that
Yeah.
though, because even for me, so I tend to have a dominating, I'm known for RBF. I'm known for being tasky.
That'd be resting bitch face for people who
Yes.
know that.
And it's not intentional. It's just I'm a tasky person. And so I'm not the type of person that walks around with a smile. It doesn't mean I don't want to. That's not my face. And so,
That's not my face.
and so I do, and even to this day, I have to kind of step back and soften up. And realize I can be intimidating and stuff when it comes to other females, and so it's something that you have to realize and keep yourself in check. Because I'm one of those people that I get along way easier with guys, and for the most part, because I don't get into the female stuff and the drama and all that sort of stuff. So I have to pull back and say, okay, I need to adapt a little bit here. So yeah, it's a learning.
There was
a learning thing.
There was a little bit of a learning curve. Like when we first started, it was like who we were hiring. Their personality really had to mesh well with Vanessa's, or else it was going to be a disaster. I was using my psychology degree to the nth degree, because I would have to they'd come in my office, they'd shut the door, they'd be like, I don't think Vanessa likes me very much. And then I'd get a call from Vanessa. She's like, this person's acting like a POS. Sorry, I don't want to cuss on this stuff. And so it was a lot. And then I think she's grown a lot into a much more receptive leader versus where she started. So
Yeah.
I just have to, I don't want to say warn people, but when we bring someone on the team, I'm like, look, this is my personality and I'm going to try my best.
we have a disclaimer.
Yes, but just because I'm not smiling at you and I have
Right.
RBF and I'm not doing, doesn't mean I do not like you. I promise I really like you. So once people get to know me, because I just have a hard outer shell, that's just, it's from everything I've kind of ever gone through. So once people get to know me, it's a much different story.
You haven't been that way at all here.
Yeah, so as a
and
fellow female, you've been nothing but super
See,
warm
I'm really
and
trying.
overly
She actually-
considerate sometimes. I'm like, you're not putting any of that energy out.
She sent me a text probably the second week you guys were here in the morning, and I was on the phone, and it was like, I'm going to Starbucks, you want something? I didn't respond. And then I was on the phone again, she was like, I'm going to get some lunch. And do you remember doing this?
Oh, yeah, I do.
And I was like, and I was on the phone again. So finally, I get off the phone and I call her. She's like, I am trying to be nice here. I'm working, and you're not even responding to me. Why would I even do it? if you don't even respond to my messages.
She would never send me that text message. So you
Whatever.
are.
She was trying her hardest.
Whatever. Well, I mean, I'm very happy here. And when I'm happy, I'm a much
There you
different
go.
person. See?
That's awesome.
See, there
Good,
you go.
good. Well, we're going to wrap up with that then. Hey, so again, thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming over to Bison Ventures and joining us. And we are growing, everybody out there. And we actually are looking for females
Yes.
as a company.
Woohoo.
Because we have, somebody said that we are a masculine brand. So we're trying to like be less masculine about the brand. And we talked about doing some things to soften it up a little bit. But we are 73%, I made that up, but females, by the way, everybody out there who's saying that. But we do want females, as I think that there's so many women agents that click with female loan officers, and that's proven because, I mean, the number one loan officer in Arizona is a female. And she's got a huge following. So, but with that being said, it's nice to diversify and have that out there. So if there's anybody out there that fits the mold, we'll at
just
least
harder to
talk to you. I know.
We're way harder to find.
It is true. There's really like 10% just in the industry in general are females. So it's not like they're everywhere. But we are hiring and everybody. So this is my pitch for joining VIP Mortgage. I'm sorry. Bison Ventures. Powered by VIP Mortgage. We love VIP Mortgage. We're actually in their office. But anyways, thanks again for coming on. Thank you, Liz. Thanks, Trey. Thanks, Trish. We are on social media. Please go on to our YouTube channel and Into the Storm, and go onto Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the podcast platforms, and like and subscribe, because that's how we keep this going. So thanks for everything. We appreciate it, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.